Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's been a minute. I know I owe you an update. There's all sorts of things going on, but I wanted to especially stay focused today on updating you on the status of my trigeminal neuralgia. I had with that GammaKnife procedure done in September of 2023, and I know from comments and everything, there's a lot of people wondering how I've been since then. So yeah, I wanted to update you on where I am. Especially because reason I haven't done it sooner is just it's things have been changing with it, and I did not, I don't know, I was giving it time to see how things set in and how everything kind of changed. So definitely feel ready to give you an update at this point. Recapping of where that was September 2023. I went in for GammaKnife, which tends to be, I guess, the first line of attack for folks with trigeminal neuralgia, especially with MS. But by April 24, first after it definitely decreased. I was definitely feeling good from it. I had upped my carbamazepine daily intake to 400 milligrams a day by that point. And this definitely, that GammaKnife definitely helped, but I was still having to take what I felt was a lot, and I just still wasn't feeling great from it. Things, like I said, they were reduced, but I was still taking 300 to 400 milligrams of carbamazepine a day. But it had definitely made my big attacks subside, which was appreciated. But by April 2024, I had felt this. If you have trigeminal neuralgia, you can sometimes know how you feel and if things are going to be bad. So by April 2024, attacks had returned with a vengeance. I remember actually being out to dinner with my family, and they asked how I was doing, and almost literally on cue, I had the worst attack I had had in months. It just lasted forever, and I wasn't able to eat. So something had to change, and GammaKnife, I guess it can wear off. They've said that, and to be prepared for it wearing off, and what you're gonna do from there. So this was April 2024, and I had to come at it a different way. So I talked to my neurologist. He suggested that rather than keeping with carbamazepine, I try oxcarbazepine. I've described it as a more modern treatment than carbamazepine, which had been, I guess, one of those first line offenses for like 40 years or whatever with trigeminal neuralgia. He said that generally speaking, that people tolerated the side effects of oxcarbazepine a lot better, and it definitely helped. The side effects were more tolerable. I did have some of my energy back, and was able to do more during the day, take showers more easily, and eventually even the oxcarbazepine just kept requiring more. And I knew, I was thinking, do I get GammaKnife again? Do I figure out what else is out there and how else to attack it? So I talked to my longtime neurologist, Dr. Carlos Mora. What else he knew was a way to attack trigeminal neuralgia if there's a alternative to GammaKnife, which it sort of helped, but like I said, it was 8 months and things came back with a vengeance. So he recommended I check out a radio frequency ablation. This is a procedure where it's a neurosurgery procedure where they go in with a heated needle and I guess pinpoint where they need to cut the nerve, and it can also help. The more I learned about it, it's also referred to as a rhizotomy, and it's a procedure that can help with other neuro situations. My dad actually had one to relieve sinus issues he's always had, and that helped him a lot. They just cut somewhere different for the trigeminal. I believe they cut at the stem there. So I asked my GammaKnife oncologist if they knew anything about it, and they pointed me to another doctor, a neurosurgeon in the system. And honestly, no disrespect to the oncologists and the GammaKnife folks, that's complicated in its own right, that of a procedure, and that um, maybe does well for most people. When they referred me to this other doctor, who I will name by name, Dr. Nathan Rowland in the Medical University of South Carolina system, I honestly felt like this is the guy I've needed to talk to for years. He was incredibly smart on uh, neurosurgery and trigeminal neuralgia, and was talking about, even if you do have an attack, there is, a more immediate thing, like a shot situation they can give you to make things subside, which I never heard from anyone that existed. So he was the guy who performs the rhizotomies and was very smart on trigeminal neuralgia. And I had a conversation with someone finally that I never had with anyone in the 10 years I've had trigeminal neuralgia as a side effect. So we scheduled the rhizotomy for this was October 2024. Yeah, and it's a much easier outpatient procedure than GammaKnife. GammaKnife was a whole day of showing up and getting that metal cage attached literally to my skull, which was, just holding that on your head all day was wild. And then you have to get a MRI as part of the day, and then GammaKnife in the afternoon. So the whole day, it's like I was there from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., and it was exhausting and uncomfortable and all of that. The rhizotomy was, yes, it was early because that's how a lot of doctors operate, especially busy ones. Showed up at 5 a.m. I was wheeled into surgery, I guess, at 7 or 8. Then by the time I woke up and got dressed, I was out of there by 11 a.m. It was incredibly easy procedure. Yeah, I will say, when I did wake up, I definitely still felt, I was like, did this work? I definitely still feel something. But they explained that it would take time for the effects of the procedure to kick in. At first, your cheek is super numb for weeks, or what honestly seemed like a couple months. But it doesn't affect your face, like droopiness or anything like that. If anything, I found myself kind of biting my cheek a couple times when I was eating. But really, you kind of get used to it, and it eventually wears off. Rhizotomy really changed how I experienced trigeminal neuralgia, and it was much more tolerable. Like before, every time I talk about this, I have to knock on wood, because I haven't had that kind of 30-minute uncontrollable attack since I had it done in October. And it kind of just fundamentally changed how I experience it. It would be more of like pings in my face, or quick, like, oh, I know it's there, rather than giant uncontrollable attacks. So it's definitely helped, but even still, it hasn't been a 100% quick fix. I would say at its height of effectiveness, it was like a 90% fix. But yeah, so I had this done. It's May 25 of right now. I had this done in October of 24. But I've always had to keep my oxcarbazepine intake at 300 milligrams every 8 hours. I've tried to alter things, but that's really how it's worked for me. But it's a lot more tolerable than having to go up and down. And there have been times where I have had to go up for a couple days here and there. And I will say it really kind of started to, I could tell, just kind of wear off around late February, early March of 2025. So that is five months in, prior than the 8 months of the other thing. But even still, the GammaKnife, I would say, at its peak was like a 75% improvement. This is at its peak like a 90. But yeah, so I could tell things were kind of wearing off. I kind of got a smoldering would come back. in my mouth had come back. Still no crazy attacks, but it was just kind of hanging out. So I contacted the doctor's office, and they put me on a steroid pack for 6 days, which helped bring it down a little bit. But even after the first one, I was like, I still not feel it. After a week or two later, still not feeling great. So they gave me another one. But when I had done the first one, when that started to wear off, I was like, okay, let's go ahead and schedule another rhizotomy, because the thing is, they say there's no limit to how often you can do it. I know with GammaKnife, with the radiation therapy and everything else, it's not great to do all the time, I don't think. But the rhizotomy, it's I said no limit, and like I said, it's a couple hours in the hospital and a lot less intensive. So I went ahead and scheduled another one for, when was it now? Maybe a month ago, mid-April. And yeah, I am feeling a lot better, or just tolerating a lot more. It's still hanging out. I know it's there, and I have to take my medicine as prescribed and as I've found works for me. But it's a lot more doable than what it had been in the past. So I'm hoping with the two having now done within 6 months, I think they have a compounding effect on each other to kind of keep things under control. I guess we'll really see. But if I found this procedure, the rhizotomy, that if I can keep to once a year, or honestly up to twice a year, I'll be okay with that. The GammaKnife was, like I said, just like a whole day of intensive thing with the cage. I put on a brave face, and it was fine overall, but still not as easy as this. So I'm going, like I said, it's May 2025 right now, and I'm going, obviously I know every day it's there and how it's feeling, but even with the feeling of knowing it's there, things have definitely improved a lot. I feel more able to eat sugary items and salty items. I think I should still generally avoid sodas, and sometimes I'm very tempted by wines and a Manhattan and vermouths, and kind of like that super refined sugar in liquids. Sometimes it hurts a little more, but overall, pretty good. Another thing that hasn't really improved that much is being able to shave right here above my lip. It has improved, but I still can't push as hard. You can probably see a little more fuzz on that part of my mouth versus the rest. So we're gonna see how this works over the next few months. I'll let you know if there's any major changes. Hope this has helped you get a better understanding of how at least GammaKnife and the other trigeminal neuralgia treatments can help. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks, bye.